Welcome back to another video about AI and how it can help you make your job easier as a teacher. And what I want to show you in this video is how you can go about using ChatGPT and show you examples of what I've used it for. So to start off, we're going to go to the web page. If you Google ChatGPT, you should be able to find it, or here's the web address, chat.openai.com. And then it adds this, what's on my web browser at the end whenever you click that. The first thing we need to do is either log in or sign up. And I've already signed up, but let me show you what happens when you sign up. You can use an email address. I used my Google account, or you can use Microsoft or Apple, or, whatever it is you like doing. And it does ask you for a couple pieces of information. It asks you for your birthday and phone number, but I don't know that I can't remember if it asks really for anything more. And so, choose whichever you want based on what is easiest for you or makes the most sense for you. I already have an account, so I'm going to log in. Now here's the screen for a new chat, and it's very nice here. It gives some examples, capabilities, and limitations. And you're obviously welcome to try the examples, but it also opens up, ideas for what else. If you have an example of explain quantum computing in simple terms, that means you could ask it to explain just about anything in simple terms. Got any creative ideas for a 10-year-old's birthday? Well, got any creative ideas for insert thing you need creative ideas for? Capabilities. What's neat is that as you are chatting in one chat thread, the AI will remember what you've said, and it allows you to influence future prompts. And so, for instance, if it gives you some information, you're like, oh, that's not what I want it to change this to this. You type it in and it'll do it. It's really neat. And it is trained to decline inappropriate requests. I know that early on I asked something like about how to make money quick or something like that, and it basically was like, yeah, I can't really help you with that idea, because usually getting quick schemes are frowned upon, but here are some ways that you can try to make money or something like that. It's very polite and very, in a lot of ways, like towing the line, which is good. The limitations that it has is that it's not always right, and that is why, for now at least, AI is not going to be completely replacing the human race, because we still technically know more or are smarter in some ways. It's like how we're smarter than our graphing calculator, in that we're the ones that put the things into the graphing calculator, and therefore we're the ones that are supposed to know if what we're putting in is right or not. That kind of thing. Or the fact that graphing calculators sometimes answer things in ways that are not quite correct. Anyway, may occasionally produce harmful instructions or biased content. I haven't run into that, but I'm mostly asking about math stuff, so I am sure that if you are if you wanted something like in the news or things like that, then yeah, I can see how it might supply biased content. Limited knowledge of world and events after 2021. So that's when this version of ChatGPT, I believe, was, that's when the data collection ended for it. And so whenever I did a recent search of top math searches on YouTube, it was like, yeah, I can only say up to 2021. I can't say real time what those would be. And so that's an example of limited knowledge after 2021. Still can be helpful knowledge, just if you're looking for something within the last couple years, it may or may not be exactly what you want. It may not do what you want. So now let's look at some of the things that I have asked it, and specifically I want to go through what I asked it for planning for Algebra 2. And if you've been following along, you will have already seen this first part. I started off with, I'm planning an Algebra 2 class for the school year, give me a list of units, and it did. It's not a perfect list of units, but it gave me a starting point. And the way I'm viewing AI and its helpfulness right now is it's my solution to writer's block or procrastination block or ADHD block or whatever. Like if I'm sitting here trying to work on things and I just don't know what to do, I come over to AI and I ask it something, or look at things that hopefully will help me to get past that block that I have. And so far it's working pretty well. So I start broad with, what are the units? What are the overall things that we should be addressing in Algebra 2? Then I go smaller and break it up and ask for more specific things. So I asked, well, can you break these concepts down into 150 days of topics? And it did. Again, not perfect. The more I look at it in my planning thing that I'm doing, the more I'm like, okay, there's going to need to be adjustments. But it's still a jumping off point, an inspiration point, if you will, and is still helpful, especially if you haven't taught Algebra 2. This would definitely help, I think, for you to know what all you need to cover. Not perfect, but helpful. Then I did realize, I don't want Unit 12 to be complex numbers because I want to go over that around the place where I am doing quadratic equations. So I had it rearrange. So it did that. It also, every time you ask it something, gives you a nice little answer that makes it feel like you're talking to someone who's nice and knowledgeable. And then usually at the end as well, it, gives a little conclusion. So then I decided to do, hey, what's an outline for each topic of what to cover? I don't know that makes sense. An outline for each topic. Maybe so I know what to cover would have been better, but here we go. So this is where I don't think I've shown on the videos so far. This is where we would pick up. So it's got Unit 1, and it's got the different pieces that it gave me in my list of topics, and then it's broken that down into more things. Again, there's definitely some flaws here as far as what it is suggesting. For one thing, it's when it says one-step and multi-step equations, it thinks one-step equations are actually two-step equations, which you'll see in a little bit whenever I ask it for something else. So I asked it to do this for each one, and that was actually a lot of information. So this was the first time I ran into where it had to do another message to follow up with what it had just started to tell me about. So it said continue in the next message, and I was like, next message, and then it continued. And I went through and had to do that for the whole set of stuff. Look at this helpful thing. Throughout the course, intersperse practice exercises, group activities, real-world applications, allow time for periodic quizzes and tests, and feel free to adapt and adjust this outline as needed to suit the pace and preference of your class. Yeah. So then I started experimenting even closer. What I wanted it to do is in Unit 1 that we've got now, I wanted it to give me 10 problems for each of the subpoint topics. It didn't do that. And in fact, it gave me 4 problems for each of these little subsections. which is not a bad starting place if you're just wanting to know like what kind of problems it means by whatever it's talking about, but not what I was going for. So instead I said, okay, the first little section there, give me 10 problems for that. And so it did. See how it says one-step equations, and these are very much two-step equations. I don't know what to think about that. Multi-step equations, though, that is exactly what I would have thought multi-step equation was going to be. And then as I started actually, like, I started kind of making a handout, and so I was like, well, I actually want 12 of these one-step equations. So I asked for more, and I received more. And then I was like, I'm just enjoying playing around with this. So I was like, write me a YouTube script for solving one-step and multi-step equations. And overall, it's like a pretty good script. It's a little bit too exciting, or excited, I think, in a lot of ways. I don't know if I can pull that off, but I may very well give it a try. We'll have to see. So I said, okay, a script, that's pretty cool. And then I was working on one of my videos, or the video before this, and so I asked it, what's a good title for a YouTube video on using AI to create a list of topics for a class for the upcoming school year? So it gave me a title. That's what I used. Please write me a description for that YouTube video. I went ahead and used this description on it. And then I went further and said, with a lot more information, hey, make me a YouTube video that, and then I laid out the steps. I said, these are the steps I'm doing. So I want the video to talk about making a calendar, using AI for general outline, using AI to break each topic into smaller concepts, and then ask AI for lesson materials for each concept. And it overall did a good job with this script, I think. I decided not to use it yet, but there it is. I think we can all see that there's lots of things that AI can do. It can be overwhelming to know like where to start and whether or not you should be using it, if it's more hassle than it's worth, things like that. And so my recommendation for you is that as you're doing what you normally do, if you run into like something that you don't want to do, see if AI can do it for you. Or, you know, if you're just trying to brainstorm, one of the things it can do is help you brainstorm. And there's so much that it can do. It's really amazing. I'm going to keep going with this series on using AI tools to help you plan and do things better as a teacher. And so please like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.